much. Down, okay, all right, I'll get that. So, hi guys, my name is Gimmy Chu. Today I'm gonna talk to you guys about fighting the good fight. Okay, and this is something that I feel almost on a daily basis, and anytime I talk to an entrepreneur, John and I were just sharing war stories. You know, I think in business they compare that a lot with war, right? They talk about killing the competition, or like how are we gonna attack the market, or you're fired, right? These are all like war kind of sayings, and you know, there's a reason behind it, right? So for us, you know, we have the classic startup story. It was founded by 3 U of T alumni. We were all part of the U of T solar car team, right? And of course, you know, after we graduated, we got together and we wanted to create a company that could make the world a better place. Like, you guys have all heard this before, and a lot of people have very similar stories. But what a lot of people don't really talk about is what it actually takes to do that, to fight the good fight. So our claim to fame is, in 2013, we launched our first product. It was the world's most energy efficient light bulb. And I have one right here, actually. This one, it takes about 3 seconds to ramp up the full brightness. At full brightness, it only uses about 10 watts of electricity. If you want to dim it down, just flick the switch off and on, and it'll automatically start to dim down. So it's a dimmable light bulb that doesn't need a dimmer switch. So it's really cool. We have other ones that work with a normal dimmer, but for this one, we really wanted to kind of get it out there to people that didn't have a dimmer switch. But you know, it's called hardware for a reason. And there's a reason why there's not a lot of hardware startups, because it's really freaking hard. Okay, it's really hard because, you know, a lot of people think, oh, you know, what's my startup idea? You know, what am I going to pitch to these investors so that they get all excited because I have this great idea, and then someone else is just going to buy me out for $1 billion. But for a hardware company, after you have the idea, I would say the idea is about 10% of everything, because then you got to prototype it. I remember when we first started prototyping, we were like, well, where are we going to sell this thing? We can make 1 or 2 and just sell it on eBay and maybe make a couple bucks, but you know, after years of R&D work, right? So then you have to figure out the supply chain, right? And the supply chain doesn't exist in Toronto. It's all in China, right? So you got to fly all the way over to China, and it's a different world over there. I'm Chinese, and you know, it's very difficult to do, even for me. Beyond the supply chain, beyond negotiating all the prices with all these factories, you got to think about manufacturing, logistics, fulfillment, and you haven't even started selling the product yet. So that's a whole other battle. Now, why do investors invest in companies? There's a lot of reasons. A lot of it is the team, the idea, but a big one is the size of the market. What's the addressable market? Is there the potential for this company to be a $1 billion company? Right, and for us, we're lucky because we're in lighting. There's more lighting than there are people in this world, right? So for us, you know, that's definitely a good thing. But the challenge around that is we're going up against basically Thomas Edison's company, GE, or we're going up against Philips. You know, these are huge giants, and we're like this little ant trying to fight them, right? But every day it's like this battle. So how do you win? So I think of it a lot like the only way that we could win against these big elephants is guerrilla warfare, right? So guerrilla warfare tactics, and John spoke to this a little bit earlier as well, you gotta be willing to do some big and bold things. You know, you gotta be able to go out there and make a lot of noise. And luckily for us, we were able to do that with our very first product. We had the world's most energy efficient light bulbs. You know, 3 Canadians from Toronto, we created the world's most energy efficient light bulb, and that actually got us some headlines, and that was a good start for us. Right, but beyond that, there's more to it. It's like, how do you do things in a cost-effective way? We're going up against giants that have endless budgets, okay? They basically have an unlimited budget. They could hire 50 times the size of team that you have. How are you gonna compete there, right? But I think a big part of it is attacking fast with the element of surprise and just create something that's really, really innovative. But the main thing is, you know, for all of you guys that are wanting to become an entrepreneur, you guys gotta know what you're getting yourselves into. You're basically signing yourself up for war. And in order to do that, you have to be willing to do whatever it takes for however long it takes in order to make sure that that's successful. And I listed some of these things out there, and a lot of it, you know, I've done before, but it's even more than that, right? You gotta be willing to, let's say you're doing investor pitches. Investors say no like 999 times out of 1,000. So you gotta be ready to be rejected over and over and over again. You gotta be willing to like work all night long on a pitch deck, just knowing that you're probably going to get rejected until maybe that one day you could succeed. And if you're not willing to do that, don't quit your day job. Thanks, guys. Questions?
I'll start with the first. Did
Sure.
you actually sell your house, your car?
I'm thinking about it. I'm just kidding. Well, like, luckily for us, we got some investors on. The question was, did I sell my house? No, but it's definitely something. It's a last resort thing. Like, if there is that need for us to continue pursuing our company, you got to be willing to do stuff like that, and you got to plan for that.
Pictures in the next slide.
Pardon me?
Pictures of your house in the next slide.
For sale. No, I'm just kidding.
Any other questions? Are the three founders still involved?
Yeah, so the question was, are the three founders still involved? Yes, the three founders are all still involved. Two of them are actually pretty much permanently in China. We do a lot of the hardware R&D over there. We do a lot more of the software stuff here. Sorry, go ahead.
How do you prevent your light bulb from being leaked while in China?
So the question is, how do you prevent your light bulb from being leaked, from being copied in China? In China, you can't prevent that. There's just, I think the only way is to continue to innovate and release new products and new technology. And that's another reason why hardware is hard. You know, I remember the first bulb that we had this little message inside saying like, oh, we caught you, you open up our light bulb. But really, like, you know, it happens. Like, we've seen it copied in China already. But, you know, you got to take that as a compliment. It's like, if someone's copying you, it's kind of a good thing. Well, right now, it's not very bright. Well, so the comment was that it's a little bit too bright. So anywhere where you need a bright light, right? So this is, at its brightest, it's a 75-watt incandescent bulb. But usually, you put these into a fixture, right? And there's usually, you know, like something on there. But if you want to dim it down, you could just use the on-off switch. So I'll show you guys again. It does get pretty bright. You could stop it at any brightness. You could dim it down again. So this one's really cool. Actually, it's it's the only dimmable light bulb that doesn't need a dimmer switch.
Two-part question. Are you looking for any wholesalers? And how do you compete with Philips since they just got that huge contract in marketing that took over all the residential lamp bulbs?
So the question was, how do you compete with Philips, considering they have all these big projects all over the place? Well, I think the great thing for us is it's a very big market, and lighting, it's actually separated into a lot of different types of lighting. We are launching a connected version of our product, and we're launching that into places like Best Buy, places like Amazon. So that's part of how we're gonna actually do that. But it's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that makes that happen.
Last question.
Who has the better question? No. I think his hand was up first. Sorry about that.
What is the price of the light bulb? You said it's comparable to 75 watts of the regular one you buy. So what's the cost savings over the regular?
So this the question was, what is the cost savings of this bulb? So because our light bulb is one of the most energy efficient in the market, this one, for example, when you use it at the lowest brightness, it only uses about 6 cents worth of electricity per year. At the highest brightness, it's only about $1.20 of brightness of electricity usage in a year. The actual product, this one was introduced about a year ago. We launched it at around it's around $30. So we're selling it through a lot of different channels like Home Shopping Network. A lot of the different design shops in Toronto has it as well. Our connected product, we're launching like a starter kit. It has a hub plus 2 bulbs. We're launching it either somewhere between $79 to $99 for 2 bulbs and a hub. So for the connected world, it's getting a lot more competitive. But in just regular lighting, LED lighting is dropping pretty rapidly. Hence why for a startup, you gotta find a way to compete. Thanks, guys.
Thanks so much.